An empty highway at dusk, haunted by the growl of 100 motorcycles, their riders shrouded in black leather, their helmets glinting under the setting sun, and their patches standing out boldly. The iconic death head insignia, synonymous with fear, rebellion, and lawlessness. Meet the Hells Angels, a group steeped in controversy, crime, and counterculture. Yet behind the roaring engines and intimidating facade, what stories lie buried? What secrets do these riders carry? As we venture into the shadowed world of the Hells Angels, starting with the nameless face who laid the cornerstone of this notorious brotherhood, we will peel back the layers of myth, unearthing tales that will challenge what you thought you knew, and some that may confirm your darkest fears. Ready for a ride into the unknown? Journey with us back to a time when America was rising from the ashes of World War II. It's 1948, and the nation is changing rapidly. In the sun-drenched corners of California, amidst the booming echoes of industry, a group of battle-weary veterans sought a sense of belonging, a fraternity of rebellion against the mundane. Here, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club sprang into existence, a creature born of steel, fuel, and a burning desire for freedom. At the helm of this motley crew was Otto Friedli, a World War II veteran with a love for speed and an insatiable thirst for adventure. Friedli, having served in the airborne unit, chose to honor the 302nd Bomber Squadron known as the Hells Angels. The moniker, potent with intrigue and rebellion, became their identity. A clash of thundering engines and roaring spirits, the Hells Angels were no ordinary bikers. They were a brotherhood, bound not by blood, but by an ethos of freedom and rebellion. Their bold and defiant nature quickly drew in like-minded individuals, and by 1950, they were a formidable presence on the California's highways. The growth of the Hells Angels was meteoric. By 1957, the flame that Friedli had kindled had spread to San Francisco, with the chapter opening under the stewardship of Ralph "Sonny" Barger. His leadership would take the Hells Angels to new heights of infamy. The Hells Angels weren't merely a club, they were a lifestyle. Long rides under the sun, the shared camaraderie around a campfire, and the collective disdain for societal norms. They lived life on their own terms. They weren't criminals, not yet. They were rebels, social misfits basking in the glory of their unfettered freedom. But as the Hells Angels grew, so did the intention they garnered. Their antics, often teetering on the edge of the law, didn't go unnoticed. The police, the public, the press all started to question, who were these leather-clad, unruly motorcyclists, and what are they capable of? In the late 1960s, those questions would begin to find disturbing answers. As the thunderous roar of bikes filled the air, a dark tale began to unfold. We've now reached the tumultuous 1960s, a decade of change and upheaval. Here, the Angels traded their halos for horns. Their escapades took a turn, straying beyond the law's confines. One of the earliest and most significant incidents that marked their descent occurred in 1964. On the 4th of July, members of the Hells Angels descended on the quiet town of Monterey, California. What started as a weekend of revelry ended in destruction, with the town left in shambles and locals terrified. This Monterey Rumble, as it came to be known, triggered the first widespread wave of fear towards the Hells Angels. But the worst was yet to come. Fast forward to December 1965, at the infamous Altamont Speedway Free Festival. Hired as unofficial security, the Hells Angels' presence escalated into violence. The festival ended in tragedy, with an 18-year-old, Meredith Hunter, fatally stabbed by a Hells Angels member. The incident was a dark milestone, transforming the public's perception of the Hells Angels from misfits to outright criminals. These incidents were not isolated. In the decades that followed, Hells Angels members faced allegations and convictions for drug trafficking, racketeering, and even murder across the globe. The club's name was regularly splashed across headlines, associated with crimes that shook the public conscience. Between 1985 and 1987, a bloody conflict known as the Lennoxville Massacre tore through the Hells Angels ranks in Canada, claiming the lives of 5 members. The gruesome event marked a chapter in the Hells Angels' history fraught with internal struggle and bloodshed. The Hells Angels were not just involved in crime. They were intricately entwined with it. Despite their criminal activities, the Brotherhood thrived, their allure seemingly undiminished. Their very existence posed an unsettling question. How does a motorcycle club spiral into a criminal enterprise? But, as with any tale, there are multiple layers to the story. Not all members were criminals. Not all chapters were involved in illegal activities. This dichotomy within the club itself raises questions. Who were the men behind the infamous headlines? The answers lie in the stories of some of the most notorious members of the Hells Angels. And that is the tale we'll dive into next. Are you ready to meet the faces of the Abyss? As we delve deeper into the shadow of the Hells Angels, a set of notorious faces emerge from the darkness. These are the men who, for better or for worse, etch their names in the annals of the club's infamous history. First, let's turn the spotlight on Ralph "Sonny" Barger, the man who spearheaded the Hells Angels' evolution. His reign began in 1957 when he took the helm of the Oakland chapter, and his rule was unorthodox. Barger was a paradox, a charismatic leader with a ruthless streak. His vision and audacity steered the Hells Angels from a region also evident as authorities have intensified efforts to curb illicit activities. The Hells Angels have broadened their focus to include more legal business endeavors, ranging from tattoo shops to security companies. Importantly, the advent of the digital age has left its mark on the club as well. Once known for their secrecy, the Hells Angels have adopted aspects of the online world to amplify their reach, making use of social media and the internet in their operations and recruitment processes. Yet beneath these changes, a core principle persists. Once you're a Hells Angel, you're always a Hells Angel. So, we've traveled through the wild and twisted journey of the Hells Angels. Starting with their simple roots after World War II, they've grown into a group known worldwide for better or worse. Their impact on society is still felt today, but their story is far from over. They've always found ways to change and survive. The big question is, what's the next chapter for the Hells Angels? Guess we'll just have to wait and see.